They had influence to leave, like something's going on.
I agree, Neil. Why would they leave? Like, what's happening? You know what I mean?
Right. I agree too. I think that's a bigger question. Like, why did they leave? And we probably will never know. And but I am definitely interested in hearing the brother that said we need to separate. What does separation look like politically and economically for 50 million people? You there, bro?
Yeah. A separation will have to. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. My I don't know why I got a crazy feedback on my end. I apologize. I don't know what's going on, but trying to fix it. But yeah. So I'm just run it down. So a separation will have to start in small groups. Let's just take us right here on this panel. We will have to separate ourselves amongst ourselves. Like the brother mentioned, it's a problem between brothers and sisters dealing business with each other, which I agree. But that's also in the white community, in the Chinese community, but that's not because they deal with their stuff in this manner. They separate themselves in small groups away from the people who won't deal in a certain manner. They don't deal with everybody in their community. So what we have to do is everybody on this panel will have to agree we need to do a certain thing. We can't save everybody in the hood, everybody in the community. Us on the panel want to do a certain thing. And once we build that with amongst each other, then we can establish what I'm trying to say, a community. So we're not looking to save 50 million people. We're looking to save 10 people. Then once that 10 people establish something, it can turn into 20 and 30 and 40 and 50 people eventually. But we're not looking to save the world. If we save ourselves right now, we can build something bigger. This feedback is really killing me. I'm sorry. I can't even continue how
I
I want.
don't. Anybody else hear the feedback? Cause I don't hear it.
Yeah, I don't hear the feedback. If it's an echo, you hearing
Yes,
an echo?
I don't hear any.
I don't hear the echo.
That
It
might
might
be your
be.
connection, brother. You might need to go out and come back in, and it
go
might
come back
clear it
in.
up.
No, no, no.
Yeah.
If you have the show playing on like YouTube
Oh
still,
yeah, yeah,
just
yeah, yeah.
mute it. Mu- Yeah,
If you're
like
on two different devices, if you
yeah.
got
If
it
you're on
Okay,
two
on,
you know
different,
what? Yeah,
yeah. If
I
you want,
gotta click one off. Yeah,
right.
that's what it was. That's what it was. All right,
Right,
appreciate
that's what
that.
it was. There you go,
Yeah.
brother. There you go.
All right, appreciate that, man. Look, I ain't too savvy. I'm gonna give y'all who I am real quick. My name is John Boy. I'll be doing a podcast every Friday. I end up not doing one this Friday, but I'm 34 years old. I got 9 kids, one wife, one baby mama, and that's what my mindset is. My mindset is building a black family again. And I didn't start by talking. I started by doing it. I was like 14 years old, and I was telling people in the hood, like, nah, man, I want a family. I don't want to, I just had this mindset since I was a young man. And the only way I can show people was to do it. Now, my kids is going to see that from where we came from, dad was able to do this. He didn't just say this is what we need to do. We actually did it. And that's my point of this of coming on is we gonna complain because there's something to complain about. But what are we gonna do after complaining? Like I say, I took us for example. If everybody on this panel say, let's stop working. Let's not stop working. Because what we need more importantly is food and water. Now we're gonna get the other stuff when it comes. But food and water is the majority of what we need. We say, let's stop working, let's take what we got, and let's just get out this piece of land. Maybe this land is $50,000. Now it's gonna be tight, but we do it. Let's say we do it, because Black Wall Street did it. So let's just say we do it. And we get on this land and it's tight for a time. But we work for ourselves. We work for ourselves. We build the thing that we say we cannot do. We show people that we can do it. Black Wall Street got destroyed, right? But we're not talking about that they rebuilt. So this is not something that's impossible. And one thing I learned as a young man was complaining always put me in a situation where I didn't do nothing. I just wasn't doing nothing. I had to wait till my 30s to say, man, complaining is not getting me nowhere. Now, whether I like it or not, I have to do the things that I say we cannot do to show people that it's very capable. Now I understand. What I want and what I need is really conflicting. But when I look at the need and the necessities, it's not a lot that I need as a necessity. What we want is clouding our judgment on moving forward with brothers and sisters, not what we need. And that's my point of it. I hope y'all get what I'm trying to go. I don't want to be long-winded. But yeah, that's my point of it. If we could take a little bit and just build that and show. Now, this is one plantation, so to speak. We show the people like, okay, on this plot of land, we can do this. Now it travels over. Oh, yeah, look what them brothers did over there. Oh, we can do this. Now we can do this. But everybody saying we can't do it, then who's ever going to do it? Now, I did it as a man, showing that you can have one baby mama. You can be very productive without having riches and all this other stuff that people say we need. I mean, they say they want but don't need. I showed that to my family. Now I'm the only one who did it. Now, not because it was I want to show y'all that this is what I wanted. This is what I wanted in my heart, to be a man and have that family structure that we don't no longer have. Where Big Mama at? She gone. Where Pawpaw at? He gone. There's no more of them people. Now I have to be Pawpaw now. My wife had to be Big Mama now because we lost that. Now what we have to do is, I'm not saying this is what y'all are doing or y'all are doing. I'm saying the complaining is the roadblock. When we say what we cannot do will always be the end game, will always be the stumbling block for us. When it's very possible, brothers and sisters in worse conditions, I keep bringing up Black Wall Street because that was a worse condition than what we are in. They established commerce and trade with other countries. So if brothers can do that in their backyard, with all the know-how and understanding and technology that we have now, why can't we do this? And I also do this, I want to make this point, and then y'all can jump in. I talk about Black inventors. I talk about the brothers and sisters that created the technology for train systems to work. The brother who created the light switch. The sister who created laser eye surgery. The brothers who created mailboxes and I forget the other brother I brought out. But these brothers and sisters did this with the bare minimum. So why are we now knowing what to do, knowing the failures of our brothers and sisters, our ancestors, and not continue to push forward? It's not because we can't. It's because we don't want to. We don't want to take that initiative. That's the only thing that's stopping us. Is the initiative. Getting killed for something, I would rather die for my family to say this is what we can do. I would die in that saying what we can do than to die, because you're gonna die anyway, than to die and never do nothing. And now my baby's having to figure it out by themselves. I'm willing to take that responsibility, and I think we all should take that mindset. We all should be Malcolm X. We all should be Martin Luther King. It shouldn't be one no more. We should be relying on one person. We got to all become that. Unless we all just going to just perpetuate what's been going on, we all have to become that. But yeah, I'm going to end it on that.
Right.
John Boy.
Yeah.
John Boy, let me say this. You know, our people don't trust each other.
Mhm.
You know, they're hesitant to take a leap. So how would that come about in convincing our people that this can be done? Because we're stagnant and we're not moving forward.
Right. Well, I will say this, when you get into the politics, the politicians never trust each other. But they still set down agreements to work together because they understand a goal. The goal is to subdue and make their lives better. They all agree on making their lives better. They don't agree. They kill each other all the time. But they don't agree on everything. What they agree on is let's make our lives better. So again, I want to bring it down to simplify it. If everybody on this panel say let's make our lives better, I don't have to agree with everything you do. I'm what they would call an Israelite today. Now I'm an Israelite. Now you could be a Muslim and you could be somebody who practices Buddhism. I don't care what you do because I don't have to agree with that. But we're going to agree that we are black people who need to survive. And if that is the motivation, then it doesn't matter how much we agreed on, because nobody in the world agree on everything. Nations fight within each other because they do not agree. But a lot of them agree on the point of surviving. And I think we have to minimize our expectations with each other. We don't have to agree on everything. I don't even know anybody on this panel. But if y'all say I'm making a farm and I need this, and I'm growing potatoes and I got tomatoes and we need to barter. That's the only thing we need to agree on, that we need to survive. And that's my answer to that.
I'm still stuck on the fact that Black people don't have enough to survive on their own, to like survive off of Black owned stuff, Black owned, like we don't have our own cars, so we can't. We would definitely have to outsource for that. We don't have a lot of things that other cultures have. Asians have their own vehicles and they have their own technology and they have their own cultivations, where the Black people kind of sell their shit once they get on and they make money and they make thousands and the millions of dollars. They sell it to the white man. So
That's
there's
mindset,
that.
teacher. That's mindset, morphine. That's mindset. You know, when we start businesses, you know, it would seem, in my opinion, that the reason why a lot of our businesses fail is because we have the mindset of is I'm going to start this business and I'm going to get rich. So we tend to overcharge for basic goods and basic things and stuff like that. Like I mentioned earlier too, you know, we go into a Black owned business and be like, oh, let me get the hookup. You know, we kind of are a detriment to ourselves in that sense. But that goes back to education. For the most part, we aren't educated to understand politics, and well, this is kind of something else on a different level. Is, you know, the business end of it. You know, like we aren't educated in monies and financial literacy. That's the word I'm looking for. So there's a lot that goes into place there, and we have the distrust for each other. So, you know, when a Black politician or somebody comes in and say, oh, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that. Oh, who is this Negro? You know, what is this dude about? You know, like we kind of side eye each other. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And I think I kind of gave the answer, the remedy to that. Because I think as a Black community, look collectively, what y'all say is about 50 million of us here. I don't know the numbers. I know it's been embellished a
Give or
lot.
take. Yeah, give
Yeah,
or
give or
take.
take.
Yeah.
So we looking to say 50 million Black people. Can you trust right now 50 Black people? You can't trust 50 Black people to do one thing. So why are we looking at 50 million Black people? Let's look at
Right.
5 Black people. Let's look at the very few who will do it, not the many who won't do it, because the people who won't do it is always gonna be greater. Look at the few who will do it, and then you start there. We run a business. It's called Manor Sweets. Me and my wife, and we charge for certain cakes. They be the wife got to get the estimates on it, but it be $200 cakes that people complain about. But the work we put in, we gonna charge you $200, because guess what you're gonna do? You're gonna go to White Becky up the street. She's gonna charge you $300, and you're gonna buy it. So the work we gonna put in, you're gonna pay for it. Think about what y'all buy on a yearly basis. Y'all don't buy everything y'all need. Y'all buy everything y'all want. So think about the wasted money y'all have that y'all could have definitely did without those things. So when we talk about having money, we got plenty money. We don't compartmentalize that stuff. We don't look at it and say, this is what we need, and whatever comes in else, we're going to build on it. We don't do that. Certain particular people who run businesses and companies, they do that. We're not looking as business people. We're looking as consumers. So as a consumer, you ain't never got no money, because everything you come in, you got to give out. But if you're a business, now you got plenty. If you just think like that, think you're a business. Now you got plenty money. You spend money on things you never even use after the year you bought it.
So if everybody thinking, and not everybody, not saying like the 5 billion, if the select cluster people are thinking like a business, who is our consumer? Other Black folks that don't think like us, that's not living like us? Because I'm the first Black person that to say I can't afford a $300 cake. I don't care what race it came from.
Mhm.
So I'm going to say that that's not something that will be in my budget.
Right.
The same thing I say when I'm talking to the barbers, because I go to the barber shop, I get my hair cut. Bro, I can't afford a 400 I mean a $40 haircut every 2 weeks to a week. Because I'm the type of person that gotta get my hair cut every once a week. So
Mhm.
I can't afford that. That's not really helpful. If I'm trying to budget my money so I can put back into the black community, the black community cannot charge me white people prices because I don't make white people money.
Now, what's white people prices compared to what something you already buy? What type of car? I don't want to be talk about you in particular. I just want to make a statement. If we buy $30,000 cars, no, we don't have the money to pay up front for that $30,000 car. What is the process of
No,
getting that car?
we finance it. I want to know what black owned business you could finance from.
Well, people, see, that's the thing. We look into always talk about the problem of that. Now, if you come to me and say, "Oh, I need this cake. It's $200. I need this cake." Now, can I do a payment plan? Sure, my sister. I will look out for you. It's just that simple. We are saying
I
we
don't
don't
think I
do
need a
these
two
things.
hundred dollar
No,
cake.
no, I'm
Yeah, we
sorry.
I
I'm
kind
mean,
of
sorry.
she said.
we're kind
I
of
mean,
veering.
No, listen. I want
I
to make
don't
a
mean
point.
to dwell on that, but I'm like, that's
Yeah,
expensive.
we're kind
Like,
of veering away from the topic though with this. You know, I don't mean to
Yeah,
cut
yeah,
y'all
yeah,
off.
and
We
the
kind
point
of
I want to make is we always talk about what we can and what we can't do, not what we can do. And what we can do is very capable. Us right here, our salary right here. Now, let's say everybody make $10,000 that they can set aside that year. We can do whatever with that money. This panel right here. We can establish land and do something with that land. Now, I know that's far fetched for a lot of people, but it's very easy and simple. Every nation does this same process. They come together, get land, put companies on that land. It's the end of the deal.
yeah,
Everybody's rich now, but we're not
it,
trying to
it,
get rich. We
right.
trying to show,
That
yeah,
mindset that you got right
cooperation.
there, that mindset you got right there goes back to what Moody was saying earlier. Is, you know, it takes money to have a foothold in this political arena. So if we can just get the mindset just to, you know, be practical with each other and support black businesses and keep our dollar within our community, because I think it stays in our community all the way like a few like 45 seconds or something like that
yeah, a
versus
few
versus
seconds.
versus Asians, where they dollar circulates through their community for months before it leaves the community. We can understand that financial literacy and are able to use that and catapult that toward having some political influence. Like if a bunch of black businesses all come together and then lobby for something that they want, then the odds of it coming to fruition is greater than just sitting around talking about it and not being about it.
Yeah, yeah, very. And that's the point I want to make. And I'm gonna be quiet. But if we just put this, what I did to myself, and I only can speak for myself and what I did. I stopped talking about what I cannot do and where the problem is. And then I start thinking about the solutions. Life became more clear. We're gonna always have people we don't want to. You're not gonna want to buy a $200 cake all the time. You're gonna have brothers and sisters who make $25 cakes. We know sisters and brothers who do that. Then you go to them. The point is to deal with your people and to make that initiative to say, my people are important to me. Let's work together in any aspect because we're not going to agree on everything. And that's not the point to agree on everything. It's to try to work together on the things that the necessities that we need to. Now these Chinese people. Okay, I ain't gonna go too far, but yeah. I just wanted to make that point. We can work together. You don't have to buy from me, but there's other brothers and sisters you can buy from instead of going to Walmart. That's the point I wanted to make.
Okay.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying. I get that. I get that point. Now, how bringing it full circle, how does that affect us, or how does your plan affect us politically? Like, no matter what, you are an American citizen. You're going to pay taxes, no matter what. You're whether you choose to drop out of the system or participate in the system is still going to tax you. Now, that being said, what do you want in return for your taxation? Shouldn't you want representation? And if so, what does that representation look like to you?
Well, I'm gonna be clear. When I look at the Amish, who is their representation? And they live on land. They got to pay taxes in certain areas. Who is their representation? I think that we want to be a part of the system so much that we get into the politics as they present it. We don't need politics as they present it. My taxes, when I pay, when we get together, we get that land and they want their taxes, fine. We give them their taxes. We got to give Romans, we got to give Caesar his coin, like the Bible would say. But our position is we're going to give your taxes and you don't bother us. We don't want no political stance in your arena. We don't want none of that. We want to politic ourselves. So we'll pay y'all taxes. Collectively, we can do that easily. We don't want to deal with y'all. That would be the agreement. Now, of course, we can get into what if they done this, what if they done that, but I just wanted to answer the question.
Right, I understand what you're saying, and I think that works perfectly with small groups of people. Like if it's 1,000, maybe even up to 10,000. I think, but after you start talking about 100,000 people, 200,000 people, 1,000,000 people, that's a bigger task, brother. You start talking about 50 million people. Let's not even let's take that off the table. Let's talk about 5 million people. That's a huge amount of people that need some type of a representation. You got to remember the average, and this is in my personal opinion, when you look at the landscape of black folks right now, they're not going to live off the land. They're not going to do it, period. The even the country, even the black folks that live in the South ain't rural black people. They're city Southern black people. You feel what I'm saying? Like they've grown accustomed to going to McDonald's. They've grown accustomed to going to Chick-fil-A. They're going accustomed to going to the grocery store. So for us to impose to think that we're going to have an Amish lifestyle, yeah, a handful of us can do that, but the overwhelming majority of us, they're not going to do it. They're going to go to their job at wherever. They're gonna want their cup of Starbucks, even though I don't agree with it. Our sisters go want they bundles, even though I don't agree with it. Brothers go want they fancy sneakers, even though I don't agree with it. The kids go want they video games, even though I don't agree with it. There's certain things that's just we're so far ingrained in it. In order to snatch that away from them, it would be I don't see it happening, barring natural disaster. So the overwhelming majority of us are going to participate. So if we're participating in this if we're participating in this country, shouldn't we participate in the political apparatus? That's my question. And if so, what does our participation in the political apparatus look like to you?
Oh, okay. I want to make the point about the first thing you mentioned about how we kind of started off dealing with the fields and then we escaped the fields. That process to escape the fields was very strategic. It wasn't on our wanting to. It was strategic. So knowing there's a strategy in place for every development, for every progression, we reversed the strategy. Now we know it took time for us to get out of the fields and want to deal with their McDonald's and Starbucks. So we switched that strategy. We flipped that strategy on them. Now we don't, like I say, we got to stop thinking about the 50 million or even the 5 million. Let's think about the 10 people here. And let's start there. And if we start there, if we switch that strategy, we all gonna have kids. We all gonna have kids who gonna have that strategy built into them. And their kids' strategy gonna be built into them. So it may take 150 years to totally switch it over, which it took even more to get us in these places. So when it comes to that, I think that's a process that has to take time to get out of being conditioned a certain way. So that's with anything. And when it comes to the political thing, again, the political thing to me we know the politics are corrupt. So no matter who we place in there, regardless of how he could have came straight from us, talk to him every day. Once we put him in that political race, that political arena, he will be corrupt. Because the game in the politics is to make the rich richer. And if he's in that arena, if we put our brother, if we sacrifice our brother to that, he will eventually not be for us anymore. So we understand that that is a corrupt system we cannot work with. So we cannot continue to try to get in that arena, a corrupt system. We have to start our own systems. And again, I keep saying it because it happened already. Black Wall Street was our own system, our own thing. So if we have done this already, with less know-how and less mainstream backing. Imagine what we can do now. Maybe, like I say, maybe it may take 150 years to totally switch what took 400 years. Now that's a very good switch over if you ask me. But we cannot keep trying to get into this political thing because it's not for us, regardless of who we put there. Look at Martin Luther King. We put him there, and he told us afterwards, before he killed him, I put us in a burning building. So we understand it doesn't matter who we place in that arena, he will be corrupt because it is a corrupt system.
So and I agree, it is a corrupt system, and I think that that corrupt system, they created a corrupt system, and it's up to us to manipulate where they corrupted the system. I'm not going to say, oh, I'm dropping out of the system because I think it's corrupt. Thank you for making your system corrupt. That means all I got to do is put my players and push my pawns and participate in your corrupt system. It's not dropping out. No, no, no,
Right,
no.
right,
That's not the answer. Dropping out of the system because you see the corruption is not where you go. Where you say is, oh, you're corrupt, right? There's a hole in the fence. Let me exploit the hole in the fence. You
right.
understand what I'm saying?
And
That
no, go ahead, my
Go
bad.
ahead, brother.
No, I
No,
was
no,
just
go
gonna
ahead, Tim.
I was just gonna say, like, he was talking about Black Wall Street was black people creating their own system, and that's incorrect. The mayor of Tulsa, Oklahoma, in 1920, 1921, from 1920 to 22, was a white man named T.D. Evans.
Uh
T.D.
oh.
Evans. So they absolutely built Black Wall Street in the system of white people. So it was done within their system, and it was allowed to happen until we all know what happened after that.
Yeah, so I don't think the answer is dropping out. I don't think the answer is going in a time machine and trying to be sharecroppers again, so to speak. And I don't mean that in a disrespectful way because I got family members that literally were sharecroppers. I don't think that that's the answer. The answer is to for us to look to the future and say, how do we move forward? And I heard you mention the fact that you were a Israelite. Well, and I think that a lot of the Israelite brothers and sisters out there that's in earshot of my voice, I think y'all could learn a lot from paying attention to what the European Jews have done. Like a lot of y'all are combative about them being the Jews, but them cats, they got a cold little script. They got a cold little program. They're a small group of people, and they push their pawns, and they are involved in politics at the highest level. They're not saying, oh, we're not going to be involved in politics. No, they're saying we're going to be involved in politics. We're going to be involved in law. We're going to be involved in government. They understand the necessity of it. But us as black folks, whatever you want to call yourself after that, we we see we're trying to drop out of the system, and dropping out of the system is nowhere near the answer. It's like the worst thing, the thing that they want you to do is drop out of the system. The thing that they want you to do is be politically apathetic. The thing that they want you to do is not care about politics and let them just create laws and things right up under your fucking nose. So yeah, I think that, yeah, on small scales, if the brothers and sisters want to go, buy plots of land and live off the grid, I'm for that. I support that. I ain't got no problem with it. But when you start talking about the bigger group of us, when you start talking about the vast majority of us, we have to participate in this system. We have to get equity in this thing that we help create in our land of plane.
Yeah. No.
One of the viewers said that we were missing his point completely. I'm not going to say that I was missing his point completely. I get what he's saying and how he wants to do it. It's just to live basically like a what is it? Like an
Agriculture,
how you yeah,
agriculture, agriculture, sis.
agriculturally,
Off the land, goddammit.
agriculturally.
Off the land,
Yeah, there
goddammit.
you go. Thank
Let,
you,
To
thank
have
you,
an
thank
let,
you.
let me
agricultural society, an
Right.
agricultural people, right?
let me make
Right. I just can't fathom going all the way back to that,
right.
coming from modern technology and things of that nature. Now if we are able to do what most communities are doing, which is buying up real estate and things of that nature, that's a little more modern, right?
Right. Let me make it clear what I'm saying. I'm saying we need a restart, and you cannot restart getting getting stepping on their playing field. You can't restart that way because you're always going to be in their hand. Now, what I'm saying is not to neglect our intellect, because I know brothers and sisters who are Israelites who are lawyers. I'm not saying not to be smart, not to be educated. Y'all keep mentioning politics. Politics comes with a lot of corruption and a lot of okay. So when we look at politics, who who benefits the most from the political parties?
Who
The
benefits
people
the
that the
most?
people
The
that are
people that
in the arena,
participate.
right? The
The
people that
people, yeah.
participate in
You
it.
got to
Yeah, and
be
we
in
keep
it to win it. You got
yeah,
to
You got
and
to
be
we're
be
in it
in
to
talking
it.
about
win it.
You got to be
politics because that's the premise of this show. Is
right. No,
the
no,
black
no. That's fine. I'm sorry. I'm
right,
sorry. I didn't mean to say it was. I apologize. Continue.
Yeah, if you're talking about politics, you have to be in it to win it. You can't be apathetic toward politics and then wonder why you're getting beat up by politics. Like you know that's like extremely counterintuitive. If you mad at politics, you either have to destroy the entire system, the entire framework, which you're not capable of doing, or you have to get in the position and finesse and jug the best way you can for the people that you care for. And the example that I give is the homosexual community. The homosexual community, they got into the political arena, they got strategic allies, they lobbied, they put their money up, they finessed people, they talked to people until they got the things that they wanted. They didn't just say, hey, this is what we want. No, they really put boots on the ground to make their agenda manifest. The same thing is happening right now with a lot of
the
the
LGBT?
yeah, the Latino community.
Oh, them too, them too.
Yeah, they're putting they're flexing their political muscle. They're saying, hey, this is what we're doing. We're gonna be here. This is who we are. You not gonna run us off. This is how we get down. We not but we the only people that seem to be sitting around, and they're putting their money behind what they say. They're putting their players in position. We're the only people, and in my opinion, we have a really bad messiah complex. We think that just electing someone, simply saying, "Oh, Barack Obama, you're a black man. You're gonna make everything better for black people around the country." That's a messiah complex. We got to get rid of that. We got to understand that the political office is not your leader. That's your representative. I'm gonna say that again. Political office is not your leader. That's your representative. That's the person that is pushing the agenda that you put forth with your vote and your money. That's what we have to understand. And for some reason, we just don't freaking get that part.
Yeah, I want to make a point. We do have representatives, and they were for a stance. But once they got into that arena, we see that they weren't for the cause. The whole team with who really pushed us in that arena was Martin Luther King with his representation. Those brothers have not done nothing, and they will never do nothing because it's not about representing the black. You understand? Our situation is never to be a part of this system. They cannot make millions and millions of dollars the way we are not the main consumer. So the main consumer is spending all his money with the politicians and the people who are in that arena. If we take that money away, we won't need we won't need one guy to represent us. We will show the representation through us all. You're not getting our money no more. That would be the greatest way to show our representation is to collectively say, not 5 million, us in small groups say we're not giving this money. Now it's a different stance now. But we trying to grow somebody up and put them in politics. I don't think that's going to work because the one thing that's universal is money. Once we have control of our own money, because we don't control that, let's control our money first, and then we can talk about having somebody represent us in that manner. But we don't. Our idea is to put somebody in place to show what we want. When we demand what we want by taking away what they demand from us. And I think that's my angle, my total angle on that is let's starve them out. We're not backtracking on us. We're not sending us back 400 years acting like pilgrims and sticks and stones. I'm not saying it. I'm saying let's starve them out because who they need the most is us. We are their source to living. So let's take our source and put it in us.
Unpack that for
that's
me.
my whole
Unpack that for me, brother. You say starve them out. We're their source, and let me just say this off the dribble. I think that's an extremely narcissistic concept. I think that's one of the problems that's fucking messing us up as black people. We really think that we're needed by the American apparatus. You're right now, you have been totally replaced. You are a no longer needed, no longer wanted, useless piece of farm equipment, brother. I don't think you understand what's going on in the American landscape. They don't need you for nothing in this country no more. They want you for entertainment. They want you to be a basketball player. They want you to be a rapper. They want you to do certain things. You're not needed for a goddamn thing. This country would run just as smooth as it runs if you were not fucking here. There is nothing you're needed for. So I think we need to be mindful. You're not a slave. You're not farm equipment picking cotton. You don't have industries that they can't live without. You don't control something that if the black people shut this shit down, the country shut down. You don't control banking. You don't control finance. You don't control the chitlin market. And your people are the number one consumers of chitlins. So if you don't even control the chitlin market, what makes you think that these people need you? And I'm asking that in sincere honesty.
right. I'm glad you made that point. Now you get my stance on it. Because what you just said makes the whole point I'm making. We are not needed in this. So what's the point of having a political stance in a system where you don't matter? So your words will never matter. So what is the point of that? If we don't have no value to this country whatsoever, what if we sitting at a table as men and a rabid dog slobbing, begging for food coming? What we gonna do? We gonna help that dog that can make us sick, who can bite us, who can kill us? No, we're gonna get rid of that dog. No matter what that dog can bring, we don't care. We getting that dog out the house. So you trying to put a rabid, sick dog in the house amongst these men who don't care for dogs? What does that benefit us?
That was a very, very extreme comparison. You know what I mean? Because
No, hold on. Give me one second,
the
brother.
reason
Because you said I was. Hold on. I want to make this point. You said I was narcissistic for saying we should starve them out. But then you go and say they're starving us out. How you can't say that's extreme and you did the same exact thing. You saying we don't need it for nothing. So that means they're not giving us nothing. So why do we have to play their game in a system we know we can't win in? I think that we want to be included so bad. And what's going to happen is what's been happening. Why do we want to be included? What is the benefit of us sitting at their table?
Well, I can't speak for Brother Moody. Why it looked like he fell off the call too. He might.
Moody Y dropped out the call. He should come back in.
Yeah, but my whole thing is, yeah, he fell off the call. He might have got a phone call or something. But the whole thing about it is that the reality and the totality of it is that we no matter how we feel about it, we have to play their game unless you're gonna jump on an airplane and leave and go somewhere else and then follow the rules of wherever you go. There isn't anywhere we can go where you won't have to fall under the rule and regulations and governing of whomever's in power in that place. So either it's like, because what's the alternative? It's like you saying, what's the benefits of us trying to play their game? Well, what's the benefit of us not playing their game? What's the benefit of us not going to work to be able to buy this land that you're saying that we're going to need to plant these crops? You're not going to just take the land. You can't. You gotta roll with their system. Their system says you gotta have money. You gotta go purchase this deed, and then from there, you can't even just grow food on it like that. You gotta go get it. You gotta go to their system to have your property classified as an agricultural property to even do that.
Mm-hmm.
So
that's perfectly
like you still gotta play by their rules. You still gotta get right.
No matter what it is, whether you want to exclude yourself or not, it's impossible to exclude yourself, because any way that you want to move, it still involves them. Which is like when you brought up Black Wall Street earlier. That's an example of exactly what Moody was saying. That's them coming to the table, playing by their rules, and look at the success that they were able to get. Now, thankfully, we don't live in a time where racism and all of that is at such a high that they would destroy our city or whatever it is that we develop. But the thing about it is that the mindset that we have now collectively as a people, I don't even think we could do that. Because everybody's about me. This is what I'm gonna do. I'm not worried about helping like when I was a kid, I grew up in a time where if you was outside and you was being bad and your neighbor saw you, your neighbor would whoop your ass and your mama wouldn't even trip. It would be cool. We were a community at that time. We were a collective community. Everybody looked out for each other. Big mamas was all sitting out on the porches and stuff. And that's why we didn't have abductions and all of that type of stuff going on, because we had big mamas was the watchdogs on the porch, watching out for everybody, making sure that the neighborhood was safe. And somewhere along the line, that disconnect came, and women start cussing out don't you talk to my baby, like, all that type of stuff. And it just gradually over generation there became a rift. But I want to bring us back to politics. Like that's why we have to play their game in order to get the things that we want out of it. So like you said, if we want to have land to where we can to grow our own food and start our own community, we got to pay by their rules to even get the money to buy that land. You see what I'm saying?
Right. And we're going to look at things in a realistic manner. We are working right now, right? If we say in the next 5-10 years, that's our plan. Let's get all we can get from this system and then build our own. That's what everybody do. Everybody milks the system and then eventually builds their own. Look at the mafia. Milk the system and built their own. Look at the Chinese when they come over here. Milk the system and build their own. Now, I am not saying that we can just cut ties from everything right now and let it just fall apart. Let's just jump in the damn woods somewhere. I'm saying let's take what we have. Let's have a plan in place to benefit when we do cut off ties. I think this is the one thing with Black people as a whole, a collective. We want this miracle thing. I know a lot of brothers and sisters don't believe in Christ and stuff like that, but we all have that same type of Messiah complex. It's the what's going to fix it today, and it's nothing going to fix it today. There's no answers for it today. Why don't we think further down the line? Who builds anything and expect that thing to be built in a day? Who has a concept in their mind and expect to accomplish it in that day? Why do we have this notion that if we stop doing stuff, nothing can come from that? If we stop doing what we've been conditioned to do, nothing can come from that. Where do we start that at? And you mentioned the big mods and everything and cussing out people. It was a condition, a system set in place to stop that. That took years. Now let's put a system in place that's going to take years. I already mentioned that, to combat what's been done to us. I'm not saying, again, to stop living your lives right now. I'm saying it. I came in and mentioned how old I was. And I said how young I was when I put that plan in place. It took me to 34 years old to finally see my idea come to fruition. That's 20 years. That's 20 years. So can we take 20 years and put that in a mind frame and say what could happen in 20 years and not tomorrow? And I think that's where the circle is coming in, and we keep running in circles because the fix is not happening tonight. It's not happening tomorrow.
Well, in order to get that result that you're saying, goes back to what I was saying. I don't know if you were watching the show earlier. It goes back into education, because a lot of things that will be planned out, we may not see, but we have to plant those seeds in our children's heads. We have to teach our children to be politically savvy. We have to teach our children to be financially intelligent. We have to teach our children all of the things that we know, and like we're saying right now on the call, we are all 100% aware of the deficits that we have. So if we're not teaching our children to not have these deficits and to push them to play the game and play the system and do just like all the other communities do, then we won't have that outcome that you're talking about.
Exactly.
All right, I'm gonna have to. Go ahead, Tanya, and then I'm gonna wrap this show up because we at 2-hour mark, and that's when I end my shows. So go ahead.
I just want to say that I totally agree with the brother. It's going to take some time, but there are things in their political arena that we don't make them stand on. There are treaties. There are certain things that we as a people, many of us don't even know about. And we need to figure this shit out. Figure out who we are for real in this land and make these people stand on the promises that they made. And that's how we play their game, through their legalities.
But wouldn't infiltration be the key to that? Like I'm saying, we teach our kids to push our kids to the STEM stuff in education, to push our kids through political sciences, and let our children get into their institutions, but they're still programmed with and educated in what we taught them at home. So even though, yes, they're playing the game, they're putting themselves in a position to where they can inform the community. It's like be like a double agent. Wouldn't that seem like be a good move?
I mean, that could be part of the plan, but like I said, we need to go back. We need to scour these law books. We need to beat them in their own legal and political game. They bank on us not knowing about a lot of the stuff that was put in place. They bank on us, and if we do know, it's not enough of us that's going to say, hey, you know what? Let's make them stand on it. So they know that we're not going to do it, but what we need to do is put their ass in a trick bag and start doing it.
Right. But that's kind of what I'm getting at, is like, we put the agent in place, the children that we train to get up into their institutions, and then they'll be in a position of power, being that they are an elected official, to say, hey, check this out, look this, that, and the other. And they're in a position to call them out from the inside. So
right, no, I agree. I'm not
us as a community on the outside holding up signs that say this is like, oh, whatever, that's not a position of power.
I don't necessarily disagree with you. I'm saying that could be part of the plan moving forward because, like the brother said, it's going to take years. But while we're training these children, we can be doing our part to gather the information so that when it comes time for them to execute, they already have it before they start scrubbing this shit out the books. And that's all I'm saying.
I agree.
All right, y'all. I'm gonna start with the thank you of everybody that participated in this live, whether you came later or whether you came now. I appreciate all of y'all. This is going to be a part one of maybe 2 or 3 series. I just wanted to scrub the floors with this topic, and then brother John, you kind of dive a little deeper than where I kind of wanted to go in the first place. You kind of part 2 of a part 1, but it's good. You kind of introduced it for me, and you came at the right time of the live too. So if you want to, I would love to have you on board for the next political talk. It's not going to be so much of, presidential things like that. We actually want to dive a little deeper into the conversation that you were talking about and you brought to the show, to More Contentious Media and the Average Black Man Show. We love your content. This was a good conversation. Thank you, Timotheus.
Thank you.
Yeah, that was a lot. That was my fault.
Yeah.
Thank you, Timotheus, for the Average Black Man Show. Oh. Go ahead.
Yeah, I want to say that brother that dipped off. I know it was getting kind of heated. And I wanted to let the brother know it's not nothing personal against him, and I don't take nothing personal from what he said. Well, if y'all ever get, if y'all get a chance to talk to him.
Oh yeah, we're very familiar with Mugabe, and we can all tell you he didn't bother him at all.
Yeah, yeah, it didn't. I doubt it bothered him at all, even the slightest bit. But again, I want to thank y'all. Thank you for coming on here. Because he wanted to hear from you. I was on here. Well, we got a commenter in it, and he was like, "No, we gotta get this guy on here." So, I doubt that he felt any type of way because he really wanted to hear from you, brother John. So,
I just want to say something. I just want to say something before you go. Even though I was here, but all of 5 minutes, this brother really caught my attention. And I really appreciate just being able to hear just even 5 or 10 minutes of him speaking.
So, appreciate you, my sister.
Yeah, you welcome on this platform. We like you. We like how you talk. So even though we might not agree on everything, we still love what you brought to the show and the perspective that you brought to it. So we could dive a little bit more into that into the next show. If you're available, I'll hit you up.
Okay. Appreciate that.
Okay.
Hang on. Make sure everyone follows us on YouTube and Facebook. More Contentious Media, Average Black Man Show, and everybody else. Shout your stuff out.
Okay.
John, you got a page. Shout your page.
Shout your stuff out, bro.
Oh yeah. It's just my name on YouTube. Y'all feel compelled to type my name in on YouTube. You'll find me around. Appreciate the invitation, and yeah, definitely want to lean back in with you brothers and sisters.
Right on.
We got the one and only Ratchet coming in here to end the show for Ratchet. We about to get off, but would you like to say anything? Thank you to our because Ratchet got you on here. I had to go through a lot to get you on here, Mr. John. It took me like a good 10 minutes to do my ingenuity thing. So Ratchet, you want to say anything before we get off? He's the whole fucking show.
I ain't the whole fucking show. We the whole fucking show.
Oh yeah. We the whole fucking show. I'm sorry. So you want to say any last remarks before I end this? Because we ended it. We out of here.
I'm not the whole fucking show. We are the whole fucking show. I'm just yeah. So I don't want nobody to think I ain't that guy. Y'all the whole fucking show. But I appreciate it. I just wanted to get the John guy information that he leaving with morphine. That's all I want to say. He's very interested. And I know the
yeah,
rest.
John. When I end this live, hang back a little bit so we could get some information. Is that cool?
Yeah, when we end the
My
show,
computer
just
might cut off on us.
Yeah, just
I
hang
can.
back
I'm
real
gonna
quick.
do it from my phone. I'm
Everybody,
gonna do it
mute
from
your
my phone.
mics. Thank y'all. Thank y'all for watching.
Okay.
Thank you.